What's going on, everybody? This is David Mitchell here, and
Let me eat and let me wash my stuff real quick.
my lovely wife Velbaria in Voice of Autism 327. Well, happy Sunday night to everybody. And oh boy, and yes, I'm tired. I'm not gonna lie about that. But I'll be honest, it's been a crazy week. And that I'm not gonna lie about. Now, I also want to ask y'all if y'all enjoyed the video vlog that I uploaded yesterday, and I hope y'all enjoyed the YouTube shorts that I posted and all through the day today. So I hope y'all enjoyed those. But yeah, I hope y'all enjoyed those. But it's been one of those crazy day actually, because one, crazy storms today, two, been overworked and freaking soaking wet earlier, poor brain outside, and also Dimitri is doing a live stream, but
Also, my electric scooter is on board.
mm,
You know?
oh, I know, you did not took it to morning, you know,
Yeah, this is raining cats and dogs.
but yeah, it did crazy, and that I'm not gonna lie about.
Poof poof.
But wow, I'm not gonna lie, I'm actually a little tired.
And I'm also mentally tired from what happened. Something that I'm scared to say, but
Mm-hmm. It followed someone that she a fan of. That shot a friend kind of blocked her, and she graduated him on his
he graduated last Thursday.
high school graduate.
Oh, he's a college graduate.
Or check college graduate. My bad. I'm a little tired, but kind of if y'all know what I mean. Now I will be honest with some of the stuff I am saying. I am tired from the work I've been doing today. So yeah, kind of tired if y'all know what I mean. But yeah, and yeah, if y'all don't know, I am right now watching another friend live stream too as we talk, because my friend Dimitri is doing his live stream. But it been a crazy one. But wowzer. But it is a crazy. Now, I will bring up, we did have to schedule the Festival of Life from last week, but we'll be doing that this week. Because our friend Kaide was sick, am I right?
Mm-hmm.
But we were able to do our plan B, which it's something we forgot, or not forgot, but we were not able to do on our anniversary. But
and it's also the same day that the one that I looked up to graduated, and that's actually the last day I interacted with him on TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
Found out, already get the puzzles connected. That it is not his fault.
It's more of a girlfriend, if y'all know what we mean.
Ugh.
But yeah.
I don't know.
But
karma never sleeps anyway. I believe in karma. Karma never sleeps, so be careful. Be cautious and watch out for what you do, because every action you did has consequences, good and bad.
So true.
That's what I learned, man.
Mm-hmm.
Kindness is free, dude.
Kindness is free. But when you abuse it, it becomes something you gotta pay for. Am I right?
Yep.
Never abuse it. But we enjoyed it. Also, I gotta try some new Filipino food that I have never tried before.
Uh-huh.
What is it called again?
Tocino.
Ticino? Oh, I'm getting invited. Uh, Hey, bud.
Yes, I can hear you. Alrighty. How's it going, man?
Hey,
Good. How
get
are you?
get
Doing
what?
good,
We're
doing
doing a
good.
collab. I'm live
Been
too.
a good week. Been a good week. Can't complain.
Oh.
Again, my apologies for everybody
Oh,
for last stream that we didn't
I
get,
forgot.
weren't
I'm
able
on
to
mute.
get to the commenters or anything. For some reason, we're having technical difficulties, but here we are.
Mm-hmm. Hey,
Hey, Dave.
get what, bud? I'm on live stream too, so it's a collab.
Oh, wait, we're doing this now? We're doing this that we're doing?
Yep, I'm.
It's a double stream?
Yep, I get double stream.
Nice, man. Nice.
Perfect timing because I just started a live stream a few minutes before you did, and I did not even know you were live streaming tonight.
Yeah. Funny enough, I actually got this. What was it, on Friday or Saturday? I was actually timely about this because I was gonna say Saturday. I said, you know what, let's push it to Sunday. But here we are, doing a nice Sunday, and it just may be a shorter one. Maybe we can keep it under an hour or so. I'm planning more streams for Christmas. A, because we're here, this stuff is working. B, I will be going to Florida. Hopefully, God willing, the next week or so to spend Christmas with the family. So we'll be doing some Christmas streams there. Darius will be on board and everything, and I'm definitely going to check out Brightline. I don't know if I'm going to do the whole Miami to Orlando thing, but definitely going to check it out. Because right now money and budget's a little bit tight, but definitely for sure I may want to try Miami to Aventura. That may be interesting.
Oh yeah, I know that. But let me be honest, I do want to bring up some good news. Money has been put aside for the project that they've been talking about for years from Charlotte to Atlanta.
Yeah, I've been hearing about that now.
Like,
let's see. In fact, I got, where is it? Here we are. Okay, I know I had this somewhere here. Proposed high-speed rail connecting Atlanta to Charlotte potentially includes upstate stops. So, yeah, that's all part of it. And I think they got, what is it, $34.5 million through corridor identification, and Atlanta to Charlotte got part of it.
That a big step forward. I'm not gonna lie, big step forward because let's be honest, once that start happening, it only a matter of time because. Let's not forget that how Brightline was able to get its foot in the door. Am I right?
Oh yeah, and that's the thing. So you already have the corridors there. People know what corridors exist, right? You have the corridors Miami to Orlando. That's done. Atlanta to Charlotte. You know, St. Louis to Chicago. You have the Triangle. You have the Northwest corridor. I mean, there's a whole. This can work. So it's all a matter of having it work in one place and the rest of the map forward, like you had with Las Vegas to Los Angeles with Brightline West. So it's just step by step by step, and that's what we've been doing. This year has been a very good year for rail. Not gonna lie, this has been a very good year. And
that is true. That is very true.
Yeah. Is it okay if I speak up for a second? Sure. And ask a question to So as you may know, this month we got a plentiful of corridor projects around the U.S. Yeah, the main funding for their project fundings and everything. So what do you?
All right, I put myself on mute real quick, but I would not expect this tonight. I would not expect to do this for the voice of autism. So wow, am I right, Val? Yeah. So we're probably gonna be talking about some trains on voice of autism and some high-speed rail stuff.
Okay, I want to watch something too.
All right, Val gonna watch something. So it's gonna
be.
That'd be a train show.
Maybe one or two other lines, maybe in construction at that point. But I think I see it at that point. Since where I've been in Florida, it was kept by the people who were in charge there. Okay, and as that demographic begins to change, you're going to see a lot more openness to having passenger rail of all different types, sorts coming out. I mean, you see in different cities the revival of the streetcar, albeit it's not as cool as it used to be 100 years ago. But you see cities like Oklahoma City, Milwaukee, Tampa, some other cities dotting the place. I mean, passenger numbers have been increasing for all these modes of transportation. Right. So there definitely is a demand for public transportation, high-speed rail, passenger rail, and it can't be ignored anymore because the rest of the world has also been building the same thing. They've been investing a lot of this for the last, we're talking 50, 60 years in some places. So it's just now that we see that this is working, especially because the other part I also want to add in is because millennials and Zoomers don't tend to really be too much into, let's support everybody else. There's really now really much more of a political support to fixing and helping our own countrymen rather than let's go dump money somewhere else in the world or let's go start another war. Especially that. We don't want another war. We're done. Right.
Yeah.
Our entire lives has been engulfed by it. Some of you guys here in the audience, haven't known anything beyond past the Iraq and Afghanistan war. Okay, that was like in third grade when they started the invasion into Iraq. So I mean, and in first grade when the towers came down. So I mean, that's all we've known in our lives. So we're sick and tired of it. It's like, okay, we spent trillions of dollars for what? For what exactly? And for those of you who have family members who are veterans or who have served and I've seen how messed up they've gotten from it. It's like, I don't want that to happen to anybody, any other of my friends or my children or anybody else. We got to start fixing and building stuff over here, which is, the tables have turned, and I'm glad to see it happen. It's just, right now, time is on our side. That's at least a good thing. At least we can say time is on our side, things are going our way. Is it as fast as we want it to happen? No, but we're definitely gaining velocity here. It's starting to get up there.
Oh yeah, that's true. Like, and here, Benjamin, like, it mostly, and I'm bringing it up because when I would talk about earlier when I said we're doing a double live stream with me being live too, like, me and Val, we were doing our autism live stream when you started your live stream, so we did not even know, but a lot of people in the autistic community, we are literally trying to get it promoted because, one, not that many autistic people drive, and we want reliable transit. That way we don't have to afford to get driver license. And also, and the other thing, for the autistic community, transit is good for us. And the thing is that the people who don't like transit are mostly ableist in a way. And I'll be on it, and it's something I'll always say. If we want to build good transit and stuff, we gotta start calling the bad people out, I remember you did that a lot, Demetrius. Am I right?
Oh yeah, and Darius also helped out because again, Darius is autistic, so he's definitely pushed forward, and he'll agree with you absolutely 100% on that. And we'll bring that up when we go over there soon for Christmas. But that's the thing. It's like a lot of the newer generation, they don't want to drive, and you see multiple headlines. Gen Z millennials don't want to drive, or they want to have a different chance, right? Because I like my car. I like cars. As much pain as my car has caused me, I still like it. I enjoy it. But then again, I'm much more of an enthusiast when it comes to that. Most people are not enthusiasts, right? They drive cars to go from point A to point B, and they're typically not good drivers. Okay, if I were to gain a dollar for every time I see somebody not using turn signal when they're supposed to, I would be rich every single time I drive. But unfortunately, the economy doesn't work towards my favor. But the thing is that we need to have another form of transportation, another option for people to use, and that's going to be on a foundational level because the way that we make our cities and the way that we structure our communities are definitely not it's definitely not for railroad. It's definitely not for public transit. And it's a part of a sad thing because America used to have a extremely robust public transportation programs and public transit and railroads all over the place. Especially when you see all these older movies. Now we're watching a whole bunch of older Christmas movies, and it's just it's just sad to see what the New York subway system has turned into. But we'll get back to that. It's not that we haven't completely destroyed all of them. We'll get there. It's just a matter of going ahead and making that a priority to face, because it hasn't been a priority in this country, right? Everything else has been a priority.
Oh yes, it been.
Right.
There we.
Also another thing. There's another question. What do you think is the next step for Texas Central and the California High-Speed Rail Authority as they got their fundings and the recent corridor ID programs, and also what do you think are the steps for let's say for the next 1 or 2 years?
For California, they're probably just going to be building. There's really nothing else that California could really do right now except to just keep on building. They will probably be able to pick, hopefully at some point, the equipment. They have that RFQ already put out, the request for proposal, so hopefully they'll have a contract selected and set up. Probably will be most likely Siemens. I don't see anybody else except for maybe Alstom, but
I would say Siemens too.
Yeah, those are really the two big players in there.
Now,
unfortunately, I don't see the Japanese winning. As much as some of us love the Japanese train systems, the only chance that really has at getting going anywhere is at Texas. For Texas, I do see them getting out and trying to bring back the Texas Central Railway in some sort of form or manner. That will be back in the spotlight again. I don't think they'll be building in 2 years. That I don't think so. But I definitely see it back in the political quagmire. Maybe not as bad as it was before, but certainly somewhere out there that it's getting there. And again, this is discounting any sort of outside influence, or let's say 2024 the election turns out to be an absolute. It's not just a couple people at the Capitol anymore. It turns into whatever trailer for that new Civil War movie that's supposedly going to come up. I hope that's not going to happen soon.
We're not muted.
Please, I haven't gotten my homestead yet. Wait, please, give me a chance here. None of us have homes, please. But still, I think that will probably happen.
I agree.
War, but at least Texas getting forward.
Yeah, so you're saying that they will at least kind of come back to life slowly?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you got $500,000 there. I mean, that's got to come out with a good study, a much better, I wouldn't say a much better study, because, I mean, they had a lot of studies already done through Texas Central Railway. Maybe this will give the company a reboot. The Japanese may get involved again. The Spanish may get involved again. So let's see.
Apparently, according to some press releases back in August, then there's a high chance that the Japanese is still involved in. But not only that, but back in October of last year, when the mayor of Houston and a bunch of other business owners in Houston.
Sorry, David, I'm talking about your boy Dimitri.
I know.
Oh, this is my dance for Dimitri. Fomer.
Oh,
Oh, Brightline.
Hey, Brightline.
Or not Brightline. I meant Dimitri. I will bring it up at that I'll bring it up, Dimitri, at that.
Dimitri loves to dance.
I think if Amtrak is going to plan for another high-speed train set, they're not going to go with Austin, Like,
that's turned out to be kind of a disaster, a quiet disaster in a sense.
And Jane. Sorry,
anyway,
you get
back to what you were saying, Toby. I'm sorry to interrupt, because Toby had something here that was good. Yeah, that's the thing is that for as long as I can remember, the Japanese have been really involved to try to open up shop for business over here in the United States because they know, and they've been knowing for however many decades that this is a massive market that's untapped for high-speed trains. China is really been places in Africa, not true high speed, but their own systems there.
So railroad sponsored by China.
Yeah, right. With CRH. So and also in some places in Europe. So Japan has been really trying to get something exported out to the world. They see the United States as a big player in this, especially with and there's projects like the Northeast maglev, which I don't think it's really getting much traction right now. No pun intended, but the thing is that this is a very big step forward for the United States, right? We haven't even gotten a baby step in. We've got a baby step in with Brightline, but now we're telling you, okay, go ahead and fly. Here's a maglev we can build between New York and DC. That's a massive step, and I don't know. There is a way to do it, but again, there's really no way to do it without massive political support between every player that you need there. And that's the thing. There's political support, but it's not like, this is great, and this is, then they'll all come out of the woodwork. It'll be fantastic to do ribbon cutting. You'll have Joe Biden with Private Sector West, as he calls it, to go ahead and do the press release there and go do a stump speech. But apart from that, that's pretty much it. Unless you can find some 5'2" guy, dress him in Ranger green fatigues, and put him in front of Congress in an accent and ask for money for high-speed rail. I don't really know that's to get it really moving forward.
Now I will say that if Amtrak going to go a third high-speed train set, they're going to probably go with Siemens this time.
Yeah.
Because
they have a much better proven track record.
And I think even though the availability, they look cool and I like their look. I think Ulsan done that screwed their their chance here in the U.S. by that. Like
that's a big splotch on their part.
And
that's really gonna hurt their chances.
Not just that, the same train set that they have here in the U.S. they have in France, and it having problems too. So
and that's pretty sad to hear, but it's we should have been having the Avalia. They should have been out already, done and going 2 years ago at the very least. It's a little ridiculous. We're still in the testing phase. They still don't have the required all the documents and everything else that they need, and all the specifications, requirements. It's kind of silly. Can it run in service? Yeah, it should be able to, but it's just a lot of other silly stuff that needs to be added in there.
Oh, I know.
Right.
And Jane into that. Hopefully by 2024 they're up and running fully.
Yeah. I mean, they should, right? We say they should, and then we'll be talking about this 2026, right? I hope not.
I know. Let's hope we're not in the same situation by 2026.
Yeah.
By then, I'm pretty sure also should just stay away from the U.S. market right then.
I mean, I can vouch for the Germans. I mean, whatever stuff that they got over here. This is what is this? Clara Historic Smoked Beer Brewery. This is really good stuff. So, I mean, the Germans have something going good here. So.
Yeah, well, I gotta give it to some of my ancestors across the pond because I'm multi-ethnic, so part German, part Native American. So
everybody's something here in the United States.
Oh yeah,
we're all part something here.
But let me be honest, Amtrak. Hopefully, Amtrak get this fixed, and we don't have to wait another year. But good news is that Amtrak is finally, and I'm saying that it finally gives them new routes like Ohio, or not Ohio, Or yeah, Ohio, we're talking about adding new routes. If y'all have not heard.
Yeah, that I heard about, and that's definitely been needed in Ohio because Ohio is a pretty populated state. A lot of people don't think it is, and it's very, I mean, come on, it's one of the biggest battleground states every time there's a political election.
Oh,
but I mean,
I agree.
There's so many cities there to connect. I mean, you have Cleveland, Columbus, Cincinnati, Dayton, a whole bunch of, the whole state there works for high speed rail. I mean, it's just it makes perfect sense, and it had a very robust railroad passenger rail system before, so there's no reason as to why it shouldn't now in this.
And that
this
is
era.
true. That is true. And thing is, and I'll be on about it, that they're finally getting around to bringing back, and also Chicago might have even more Amtrak trains because they are planning more trains for Wisconsin and Milwaukee.
Yeah, my girlfriend will be glad to hear that. She's from Milwaukee, Catherine.
Speaking of that, the Palmetto just passed.
She got me this for my birthday, so yeah. I mean, I gotta rep it. I gotta rep it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, great. Grand Trunk Railway fan, I brought you on too. If anybody else, again, if you guys in chat, and I'm sorry for kind of ignoring chat over here. Shop2957 with super chat, thank you. Maybe a video on how to effectively lobby for train service. Yeah, I know I did a video like that maybe a good 4 years ago, but all the videos need to be updated to some point.
Oh yeah.
Everything is on the table. I will say the next video I'm working on is going to be on Brightline West. When I do go to Florida, I am going to be taking some footage of Brightline and basically showcasing how it will be adapted for Las Vegas to Los Angeles. And maybe I can get an interview with somebody there. I can, kind of use my connections there, Brightline, see what I can get. But we'll see.
Now
I may have time, maybe to do a meetup. I don't know, but when it's Christmas with my family, you barely have time to breathe. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll play by ear. Yeah.
Yeah, but to go off the idea that you were talking about on the maglev between New York and Washington, D.C., it goes back to the last point I was going to make for the previous stream when my computer decided it didn't want to connect for some reason. Technically, if you want to look into the raw numbers, Elon Musk's idea of the Hyperloop actually works, but there's a major asterisk on it, which a lot of people get annoyed about. Yes, it works. Every individual part works. Combined has yet to be proven. And when the current California high-speed line was still in the 30 to 40 billion range, but one of the universities, I can't think of the name offhand, at the time decided they wanted to do a study on how expensive it would be just to build a maglev system, and they came up to $100 billion. Now,
I don't know. It could have been UCLA. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, I can't think of the university offhand, but it's like, this is going to cost $100 billion. So how are you going to do it for 1/10 the cost? Put it in a middle pipe.
Now,
put solar panels on top of it, and the vacuum system. It was beyond belief. So it's like that part. It's not really, but once you get to the actual raw numbers, it's more likely that such a system would only work basically for like an orbital ring or a space elevator kind of system to get you up into orbit, and less for ground transportation. And even then, your output in terms of people or cargo is going to be like at most a single train an hour each direction per tube.
Yeah.
So it's like on the economy side, there was very little argument for it.
Now,
but if you wanted to go,
I'm sorry.
Once you really get into the numbers for like 400 kilometers an hour, which is about 250 miles an hour and slower, just a regular train wins hands down. About 500 kilometers an hour, or about 310 or so miles an hour. A maglev is faster. Somewhere in between is where they split, but that gets into the really nitty-gritty details. But for the most part, as long as the maglev is going above 500 kilometers an hour, which the one between New York and DC is estimated to do that, it's actually a reasonable deal. And the other part that I was going to bring up is countries and individual places that are banning 2-hour-long flights or shorter. If you actually stop and think about it for more than 5 seconds, that's the stupidest thing you can do for transportation.
Right.
Because if you want to take an airline and say, all right, you want to go to battery electric planes or hydrogen power planes, all right, where are the first planes who are going to get those? The smaller planes, they're going to have about 2 hours of endurance at most, but you've already banned those, so you can't get the planes that you want to get the technologies on to replace your current fleet. So you're basically shooting yourself in the foot to pat yourself on the back. So once you realize how stupid of an idea that is, it's really hurting the industry in the long term in order to look good in the short term. But for the most part, it's better just to figure out which cities work better with higher speed trains, which ones work with true high speed trains, and then faster than that, it's already getting into maglev technology.
Right.
But it's always simpler, both politically and economically, to retrofit the current systems than it is to build up the new system.
Right.
Which is why retrofitting old train lines into higher speed train lines is so appealing.
Now, I will
So
bring...
it all compounds upon each other.
Yeah, because there's less risk in the short term. Even though, yes, the maglev system would be far more efficient per capacity and per speed. Yeah, you're absolutely right on that. And something like the Hyperloop, I think Elon Musk has completely just let go of the idea at this point. He
kind of sold the Hyperloop over to Virgin.
Now, I will bring up that even Elon Musk, you know how much I don't like the guy. He even admitted that Hyperloop will both be vaporware to make high-speed rail look bad in the U.S. just for people to buy more of his Teslas. He even admitted that.
I'm not gonna lie though, if somebody offered me a Cybertruck, I'd take it.
Electric vehicles on themselves are not that bad because the technology is good. It's just the batteries keep letting them down because for the current ones, which is the lithium-ion battery, if it's made bad, if it's charged bad or damaged in any way, it releases all of its energy at once, creating those battery fires.
Missing out.
Which is why Samsung, those
Valley
hoverboards, and Teslas kept bursting into
Line
flames
and
a few
missing
years back
out.
because it was one of those free events.
Right.
Yeah. But if you want to actually have a better battery, well, that takes a completely new chemistry. That's 3 to 5 years to research. Then once you have the research done, it takes 3 to 5 years to bring it to market, and then another 2 to 5 years for it to be in the market to become the new major thing. So if that research was done today, you're still looking at 5 to 10 years before that new battery mixture is now mainstream.
Now, I will bring it up like when we were talking about airline, like here at Dane, and even Dimitri, you even know that the airlines hate intercity and high-speed rail. Am I right?
Yeah.
Because let's be honest, what happened in Europe and Asia can happen here in the U.S.
Yeah, no wonder why the former employee of Southwest Airlines is just, the congressman who is the former employee of Southwest Airlines now gets he's the TCR, so, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Oh, really? Wait, which one? Wait, this is... Maybe I have heard of this, but this is news to me. Do you remember the name of that? Whoever that congressman?
Yeah, I said September, but I will say it again. His name is Jake Ellsey. I'm pretty sure he represents the 6th District of Texas. Yeah, he's in the House of Representatives.
Jake Ellsey, 6th District. Let me see. I said F. Jake Elsley. There we go. Okay. Okay. Interesting. Oh, he's right south of Dallas.
Mm.
How high was he up in Southwest? Because I'm pretty sure. Let me see if I can look him up on Open Secrets and see what he's. Let me just see if I can. I don't know. See if maybe he has a Wikipedia page or something. Or
Yeah, the thing on Southwest Airlines was on his Wikipedia page. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see. Bachelor's Political Science from the Naval Academy. Deployed 9 times. Oh, okay. Worked as a pilot for Southwest Airlines and as a consultant. He was also associate aide to the White House during the Bush administration. From 2012 to 2018, he was one of 5 commissioners of the Texas Veterans Commissions. Elsie was unsuccessful candidate in the 6th District, and then I'm pretty sure he took office. Okay, was elected in 2020. Okay.
So we know how dirty he is because I always say that if you have connections to the airline and you're in government and you're dead against rail, we all know you're getting paid to do that. Am I right?
Yeah.
Like,
which is a shame given his military service, you know. And but you know, it's just what it is, you know. That's what you're going to be fighting nowadays. If somebody has those sort of connections to be able to do that, yeah, they're going to be fine for their team. And we don't really have anybody that's on Team Rail over here. And again, it's going to take time. We're getting there. The momentum and time is on our side. It's just, you know, we need some champions.
we do.
Yeah. Especially in local areas, because we do have some. We had people that I've known personally in Florida that have done great to get this going. So it's just getting those people and supporting them all the way through in terms of it's alongside with the project. That's what we got to do.
Now, I will be honest, if it wasn't for Brightline down in Florida, I guarantee the money that it going to test the project here from Charlotte to Atlanta, I guarantee if Brightline had never pulled off what they pulled off in Florida, like we would not be seeing like other projects getting a chance. And Amtrak would have probably not gotten its act together because let's be honest, when Brightline, like what I'll be honest about, when Brightline line down in Florida finally started operating a train from Miami to Orlando, it made Amtrak realize, yeah, we got to get our act together.
And I think people really started to take it seriously once they got the trains going between Fort Lauderdale and West Palm Beach, because they think, oh no, it wasn't going to get going, you know, this is just going to fail. They got it going, and people were quiet, and then now people are taking it serious, especially, like you said, David, with Miami to Orlando going through, because they've got their ultimate promise done, right? High-speed rail, Miami to Orlando, within 3 hours, they got that done.
Mm-hmm. And the thing is that now that down in Florida, that project in Florida is done, other cities and other states are looking at it saying, hey, we want it. And I guarantee that one reason why they're finally starting to look at the high-speed rail project from Charlotte to Atlanta. It probably because of Brightline, you know? Because if you see one state succeeding with it and people loving it, you're going to try to copy that homework. Am I right?
Yeah, and I'm just glad that we wouldn't be talking about this if it weren't for Brightline. Honestly, that's the only reason why we're even talking seriously about this, because we need just another lost generation talking in, you know, some, I don't know, cafeteria or some rented out convention center in a hotel or something, talking about high-speed rail again. We can't go back to that. We now have an actual project, an actual thing that we can touch, see, and say, look, here, you want to write it? There you go. Write it. Imagine this in other places. Now we have, it's possible.
Now here
and just imagine that this is just a small victory. Let's just take it down from Orlando down to Tampa. It's a decent sized city, and let's just do the spur up to Jacksonville. It's like, all right, now you're in Jacksonville. That's just one stop over from Atlanta. So then and then the Amtrak coming back from Charlotte to Atlanta, then now all of a sudden it's like, you can go from Miami all the way up to Charlotte. Can we add an additional line from Charlotte all the way up to DC? It's like, okay, which lines can be modified to take a higher speed train so we can at least get up to, say, 155 miles an hour, which is 250 kilometers an hour? Okay,
Right.
It's not the fastest, but you're still going twice the legal driving speed on the highway, assuming that there's no traffic.
Also,
Right.
I do got them.
Not only do you have to, not only do you not have to drive, you can just relax and sleep on the train, or you can eat or do whatever you want. So you have the total freedom to just relax and chill back while you're going at the speed.
And then imagine on top of that, it's like, all right, you have to stop at the different train stations, okay? When you're driving, do you have to stop to get gas, get the next meal, go to the restroom and stuff? Add in those stops, it's like, yeah, no traffic, it's just a 12-hour drive. It's like, okay, train is 6 hours with all the stops included.
Now, there is...
So,
Now, I do got some more good news is that they're out. We talk about, and it could happen in a lifetime, a high-speed rail line from Washington, D.C. to Raleigh, North Carolina, and they're talking about that too. So,
Yeah.
we could probably be seeing a train from Washington, D.C. to Raleigh of 160 to 180.
Yeah, it's all possible now. You know, the possibilities are endless. The road is open. There's now a chance to have this happen in multiple places in the country. And funny enough, it started in Florida of all the states.
I know, and let's be honest, Florida Tech, we put the foot in the ground, and the airlines, they fought it over there because they knew, and we even said it, and you even said it too. Moment that high-speed rail or even inner-city higher-speed rail succeed, the airline, like, they're confident already hook, line, and sinker. Like, literally. And the airline, they are terrified because they were hoping that the project in Florida fell, because if it didn't, it put a ticket time limit on how long they got. And now their time limit is ticking, you know? So they're on borrowed time before the U.S. is covered by inner-city and high-speed rail.
Right, and at this point, honestly, the airline should be doing what they've been doing in Europe and been doing in Asia, is to start just working together with the railroads, right? Because it's not that we're replacing one form of transportation. Like we've said multiple times, there's a sweet spot to where high-speed intercity transit and trains work is, between 250, 500, 600 miles, depending on who, right? Between more or less that given range.
Yeah, now speaking of airport and transit connection, we already have that kind of system. It's kind of working, for example, over in the Northeast, the New York airport, it's served by an Amtrak station, which is Northeast Regional Subs, and so, you can already see that it's already there's a system that could potentially work even more, so yeah.
Mm-hmm. And
pardon me? Yeah. So,
oh, I see Brightline in the chat.
Yeah. Brightline
I'll bring him on.
Reynolds is both wanting on.
I'm sorry. Grand Trunk Railway fan, were you trying to say anything? Or
Speaking of higher speed rail, they upgraded the Chicago. They already upgraded the Chicago St. Louis corridor to 110 miles an hour.
Ooh.
Finally, over a decade.
Mm-hmm.
Hello. Been a while.
Okay, we're starting to get packed in here now.
Mm-hmm. Brightline, I was trying to give you the heads up that Dimitri was live streaming. Like when you see in my the American Rail Club live in chat.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to figure out what's the optimal range of rail versus like driving or flying, it's like, all right, what's a reasonable distance anyone's willing to get on the train? We say 3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Would that be reasonable? Yes or no?
I would say up to maybe three and a half, or maybe even 4, I guess.
Let's say for the argument it's 3 hours. All right, so let's use the Japanese Shinkansen in 700 series. All right, 205 miles an hour. All right, that's 615 miles. Let's say some people are willing to go further. So if we say 4 miles, that's 820 miles. So what is 820 miles? Well, if you start in, say, El Paso, you head west, well, you're about 45 miles outside of Los Angeles. But if you head east, you're all the way in Beaumont, Texas, which is on the other side of Houston. So it's like, all right, select a distance you want to travel. It's like, okay, if you say 4 hours, you're almost halfway across the continent.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not even using the fastest train available. That's using over a decade-old technology at this point.
The fastest train is the maglev, right?
Yes, the Japanese built their maglev, and it has gone over 600 kilometers an hour, which is over 400 miles an hour. But at 3 hours there, that's 1,200 miles. So you're already across Texas and partway across Louisiana from El Paso.
Yeah,
and that's at 3 hours, no stops.
Yeah, and that's straight line speed, because of course it's going to have to make some stops, or it's going to have to get across terrain, or unless you're blasting through every single mountain that you can go through.
Oh yeah.
And I think that was the big thing for the Hyperloop, because when you see the videos or whatever, like they had some models of it going through, and it was going zipping in and out of mountains throughout California, in through vineyards. I'm like, yeah, this is not going to work. You have one person block the project and block eminent domain. That's it. That's the end of the Hyperloop, because you can't just, I'm just going to turn around and have like we saw in one of the previous streams, the Spanish rail lines to get through the Cambrian mountains. It looked like a freaking initial D track. So, you can't do that with a Hyperloop. Either, people are going to die and get, ripped to shreds inside there, or it's going to have to slow down to almost a crawl to get around at that speed.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, depending on the speed tells you how large of a curve you need to have. And even if you go very generous, you're still talking having either too sharp of a turn, so you're having multiple G turns, which is unpleasant. And if we want to go off of roller coaster regulations, you can't exceed 3 continuous Gs.
So true. That's so true.
It's like, don't worry, this turn's only going to be 4.5 Gs
Yep.
for 5 seconds.
Next thing you know,
it's just doing stuff. Just do what makes sense, all right? Everybody else has had this. Can we just build our own, please? That's all we're asking for.
And
it's like, just go hire your team, send them to a country that actually builds it, and have them stay there for 6 to 18 months. Hire translators if you have to. It's like, all right, learn the best industry, best standards and practices. And it's like, all right, here's the best thing to do. This is how you do it. And here's the problems you should be able to avoid. And here's what issues might come up if you do this, that, or the other.
Yeah. Someone here in the chat on YouTube, Bastion, he mentioned get a Japanese consultation and to build it properly, corruption-free and efficiently.
Oh yeah, that is true.
Cautions as a Brit to American rail fans, be on alert how the government does privatization. And privatization spelled with an S in the British fashion. So they'll let them go the franchise route that their government did. Yeah, because that's the thing. If everybody owns a piece of the pie and there's too many chefs in the kitchen, that's where it becomes a problem, right? Because the Japanese have it right. You have one company own the line, the stations, the trains in one section. That makes sense. But if you have one company own the line, you have one company own the service, you have another company own the trains, you have another company own the concessions, you have another company, that's it's pure stupidity.
On top of that, it's like, yeah, you can get this line, but we're going to tell you when you're going to run that line, how much you can charge for the tickets, and what their penalties are if you don't meet it. And what are you talking about? You're going under
That
just raise taxes.
that's it. Like the Interstate
so.
Commerce Commission. Am I right? Right, Dimitri? Like, let not forget. If we go back to the 50s all the way through the 70s, when we did actually have reliable passenger rail in the U.S., the Interstate Commerce Commission restricted the railroad so badly that they could not even make money. Am I right about that?
Yeah, it's just funny, we're talking about, this is a free market country, land of the free and home of the brave. Except for railroads, we're going to tax them to more or less basically to death so we can build our own pet projects.
And
it's silly.
And funny thing is, the car company, they knew it. Like, the car company, like, they slimed their way into everything in the airline. Like, if you did think about it, the airline and the car company, they slimed their way into the Interstate Commerce Commission, because I can guarantee, for people, if they go back and look at people from the 50s through the 70s, I can guarantee there are multiple people who work for the airline and the car company that managed to sneak their way into the Interstate Commerce Commission, and they knew what they were doing. They said, restrict the railroad, we can actually screw them over, and we can get their passenger and get their people. Am I right?
Right.
And
again, we don't want to get it's the problem is that we start getting like, it's them, or whatever sort of conspiracy. Yeah, we know they exist, we know we get it. It's just okay. Now, how do we combat this? And I think it's because a lot of those tend to be, an older demographic that have been still stuck in the way that it's done. Because you can't, in a sense, you can't really blame the baby generation, because that's basically how they've grown up. They really haven't grown up with trains.
Mhm.
They grew up at the tail end of it, and that was the end. So they can't really. You can't really show, you can't teach a old dog new tricks. You can't really show them a different ways for a good number of them.
That is true.
Most of the baby boomers would have been born in the 40s and 50s, so during the decline of the railroads, so that they would have had in their formative years the idea of the railroads actually becoming something that's not as shiny as the new automobile and stuff, until you realize something. It's like, all right, here's a person or a piece of cargo. Get it from point A to point B. All right, best way is water. Second best is rail. Third best is ground. Fourth best is air. Fifth best is by rocket via space. All right. So what do? Well, we heavily regulated water transportation to oblivion. We heavily regulated rail transportation to oblivion. We deregulated the roadways in the 60s. We deregulated the airlines in the 70s, and rockets are still not as reliable as they need to be seen as a viable form of transportation.
Right.
So the least able forms of transportation has been deregulated decades, and they've become the best in the world. But the two best, we're not going to touch those because, this is precedence. This law's been around for over 100 years. We don't want to touch it. And the railroads, well, yeah, it is the best form of transportation on land, but it doesn't need to be more than 10% of cargo.
And
And
funny
it can mainly be bulk. And then you wonder why the roads are overflowing.
The thing is, what we need to do to solve the problem is we need to restrict the roads again. Like, we don't need to deregulate road. We need to regulate the road more and make it where everything that is heavy freight and long distance run by rail instead of road. Like, depending on what the item is, it need to be run by rail, not by truck.
Well, you can make the rails better by just deregulating them.
Yeah, that's the thing. If you start regulating to one end or another, and you start picking winners rather than letting what works, that's where we get into the same issue again. And the railroads kind of got themselves into that sort of problem because they were basically the kings from the 19th century on, and they got a lot of regulation pulled onto them because of the massive amount of power that they had. We don't want the same sort of problem to happen.
Exactly.
We understand how how they got themselves into this quagmire throughout history. We don't want it to be a repeat of that by going down the opposite direction, only for the same sort of weapons to be used against railroads again when another sort of thing gets in power. Is you want to have the precedent to be use what works, let what works. That's you got to make it keep it simple.
Yeah,
Now,
because right now you can go out and buy a brand new 18-wheeler truck for like $250,000 and then go become a commercial truck driver relatively easily. But it's like, all right, what's stopping you and a few of your guys from going out and buying all electric train unit and then just delivering the train cargo? It's like, all right, you just need 2 or 3 buddies to go with you, and it's like, oh, it's $1 million to get one from Europe and bring it over and to retrofit it. And now you have a business. So it's like, oh, you can only work 8 hours, but there's 3 of us. I'll work 8 hours. So and so will be on break for 8 hours before he goes on, and the other guy is sleeping. All right, we dropped off cargo. All right, we're going to stop the train at this small town to go to the grocery store. What do you guys need? We'll have a small mini fridge in the back for food for like a week. It's like, all right, you don't have to worry about getting a house because you have a mobile home that you take everywhere. And if you electrify the rails, which even if we use the Brightlines number, it's going to be $3 to $5 million per mile to electrify to their standards, which was about 124.2 miles an hour, which is 200 kilometers an hour or slower, which that gets most of the electrification done pretty easily. And then it's like, all right, you now got tens of thousands, of hundreds of thousands of truck drivers. One train can replace 40 of those trucks by just pulling 20 double stack carts behind it. Models. And then all of a sudden, it's like, all right, those 40 containers are going to the same city. You want 40 trucks or you want one train?
Mm-hmm.
It's going to take the same amount of time. And then once you realize trucks are better than trains for about 100 miles at most, which is 160 kilometers for everyone
because
else.
you still need that last mile covered.
So it's like, all right, I delivered it to the city. All right, that container needs to be delivered to that warehouse over there. Is it hooked in by a train system? No? All right, put it on that truck over there. It'll be over there in 2 hours or less.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. That's what makes sense.
If it's connected by rail, it's like, all right, do you want it delivered by rail or do you want it delivered by truck? Your choice. Now all of a sudden it's like, you have options.
Exactly.
And then everything builds up. So it's like, all right, you have a child. Your child is now owning a furniture factory outside of Denver, Colorado. He has a friend out in the Cascades that is sending the wood by rail all the way to the furniture factory. There's a steel forging plant up now in the rebuilding of the Rust Belt. They're sending their metals down. Fabrics coming from Georgia and the Carolinas and Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And now all of a sudden it's like, all right, all your resources can be done at best in your own country.
Mm-hmm.
A lesser option would be from the same continent, and anything else is a minor amount of stuff from overseas. So it's like, even if you say, all right, we're not 100% environmentally friendly, that those resources are closer to home, so the environmental impact is much less.
Exactly.
What it's going to be ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
So
And that
all of a sudden, so there's now an even better argument to say, all right, you want to have a cleaner roads? All right, put it on rails and electrify it, and that issue goes to the power plants. When you get cleaner power, you get cleaner roads.
exactly now here at Dane.
Go ahead, David.
Now here at Dane, when I was talking about with Brightline earlier, and Brightline, I know you're probably going to talk about it when I get done with it. That it will be funny, and I already know it's going to happen. That Brightline West are probably going to get trains up and running for California high-speed rail. I'm already guaranteeing that.
Oh yeah, no, that's already down and done, 100% guaranteed. Once they get this going, it's going to get they're going to have trains running before California High Speed Rail even does. But to the previous point, that whole example makes perfect sense because, again, you're opening up another industry for more jobs. You're employing more people, and now you're also opening up for more self-sufficiency within the United States. Because how many industries have we offshored that can be now brought back over here with the expansion of not just passenger rail, but more short lines or electrified freight railroads that you can have to be able to get goods between places a heck of a lot faster and a lot more efficiently done than a massive amount of trucks that are long hauling a whole bunch of places everywhere. And I've seen it here in Indianapolis because this is a major stop for for truckers and for a lot of industries over here. I was going through I-70 West, and there's at least 7 trucks and about 4 lanes of traffic everywhere. And it's like, if we just have the one train, how many trucks would disappear off the road? You're talking about 200 trucks off. And they're probably
it's even.
They're not like going to somewhere else in Indianapolis or anything like that. They're going to go off to Ohio, or they're going to go off to Pennsylvania, or they're going off to Michigan or somewhere far off that, it's far more than 100 or 200 miles. That could be on a train.
Yeah, and for the worst part about it, it's like, all right, pick a highway, any highway, don't care which. All right, sit there for an hour. You're going to count what? 200 to 300 trucks heading on that highway each direction. It's like, all right. For the train example, it's like, all right, 40 containers per train. So it's like, all right, you're talking about taking a lot of trucks off. So for the argument's sake, let's say 2/3 of those trucks are going long distance and 1/3 of those trucks are staying at least in the city or in the region area. All right, that's 167 to 200 trucks per highway per direction. So that's 4 to 5 trains per highway each direction per hour. And those are much smaller trains than what are being used right now. So it's like, and if you electrify it, it's like, all right, do you hear the trains?
Nope.
The horn occasionally. The rails can be redone so you're not hearing them grind as much. So now all of a sudden it's like the noise pollution has gone down.
Right. You can separate the right of way in a whole lot of different places, so there's not going to be so much of an interference with the existing road traffic.
Yeah, and then it's like, all right, what about passenger rail? It's like, all right. Yeah, and then it's like, if you want to have the ideal rail system, you have a fully segregated freight system, fully segregated intra and intercity rail for 200 kilometers an hour or slower, and then you have your dedicated higher speed trains and faster having their own set. So it's like even if you double track each, so you're having 6 sets of tracks per direction at most. So it's like, oh, boo-hoo. Each set of tracks is as wide as a lane. So it's a 6-lane highway versus, that's 8 lanes of traffic for that highway plus feeder roads on the side. 6 lanes there, so you're talking 14 lanes of traffic versus 6, and that on all those trains are moving more goods and more people on less land and using a lot less energy to do so, because energy is just energy. It doesn't matter if it's electricity, fuel, or what have you. So it's like you're using less materials and less space. And then it's like, all right, now what? It's like, all right, you go back to the 1910s, 1920s, 1930s, 1940s, where you have train suburbs where you can have your little bitty town outside the city 20, 30, 40, 50 miles out, and then you take the train in. Right? It goes, let's say 120 miles an hour. So that's the high speed is going to go, but it's not going to reach there and hold it for long. So let's say average it out to 60 miles an hour. But if the average person lives an hour away from work, hour there, hour back, that's 60 miles. All right? draw a dot on the station downtown. Now draw that circle out 60 miles. That gets a massive territory that you can have your rail suburban towns.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, all right, do you want to have urban amenities? All right, you're going to have your smaller lot with more likely having a shared backyard or something. All right, you want more open spaces? That's fine. You're going to have a lot less amenities or a lot higher taxes, whichever one you prefer.
Yeah. And I think it's the way that we've built out our communities in the last several decades. It's just it's not sustainable, and it's already falling apart at some point. And people don't really want to keep sticking into the American suburb system. Yeah, it's fake. It hasn't really worked. I mean, it works great in a 1980s, John Hughes movie, but outside of that, the 80s have been over. We're nowhere near the amount of economic prosperity that we had then. Mm-hmm. It was a nice time. It's over. It's time to return to tradition. That's what we need to do.
Well, the problem is it worked at the problems it was looking to address, because one of the greatest ways of building wealth, bar none, is owning land.
Right, it was home ownership. Yeah, exactly. It was pushing that.
Yeah, and the house on top, that adds additional value. But it's like, all right, you got rid of the starter home, so that makes it harder for new people and young families from building out wealth to begin with. Yeah. All right, then you mandated that they have larger lots.
Yeah, because
you mandated how they can have their gardens and stuff. It's like, all right, you're adding on cost, which slows down anybody else not already there, but it speeds up wealth for those who've already made it. So
right, and all those suburban homes were selling for what, like $40,000, while the average wage was maybe $25,000. Give or take at the time. Now with inflation, we're talking about the average price of a house being $300,000 or $250,000, while the average wage has, with inflation included, maybe gone up to about $45,000. So we're talking about the housing has more or less, in price has more than or close to about 10 times, right? It's just 10x the housing prices, while we haven't even doubled, really more or less.
You get an idea of how bad it is. You want to have the cost no more than like 4 times people's annual income. And right now, it's been between 8 and 10 times people's income for the last few years, and it's going to crash.
Exactly.
Also,
and the only problem is if people make most of their wealth building into their home, once the crash happens, people are going to realize what happened in 2007 and 2008, which took 18 months to finally bottom out, will look actually rather reasonable to what will actually have to happen.
Yeah, and that's the big problem. We have to change the way that we see housing. Housing is not an investment. It's a place to live in. It's a home. If you start treating it as investments, or I'm going to flip it, or I'm going to buy this house that, could have been somebody else's starter home, somewhere in, let's say, I don't know, let's just say Columbus, Ohio, right? This was a house in the middle of the city that was $60,000. Well, I'm going to flip it and then sell it for $200,000. When you start that mass speculation, that's where the housing prices start to skyrocket like they are now. I mean, you look down in Florida. I mean, my parents' home that they bought in the 1980s was like $60,000. Now the house across the street from them sold for $500,000. It's insane.
And the worst part about it is, once you look at the demographic situation, you're going to realize that people between the ages of 50 and 65 are the highest incoming earners, as well as the ones that are investing the most. And once they turn 65, they start liquidating those assets so they can retire. And most of the world didn't have any children, so we're going to be having a massive amount of financial crunch, on top of the fact that we've had historic low interest rates, and we're going to have to return to the 50-year average, which is close to 9%. So a lot of people who have outstanding debts are going to have to pray that they can keep those outstanding debts with the 3 to 5% interest rates they're currently paying on it, and being thankful that they don't have to pay 7% or higher.
Yeah,
And
it's all connected. Yeah.
Yeah. Once that basically happens, we can get out of it. It just requires everybody who's under the age of 40 to have 3 or more children each, and then we just have to wait 50 years minimum. Yeah. And that will bring the money side back, but it won't touch the interest side back, at least in our lifetimes, if not longer. But for the most part, I don't expect once the interest rates go up to where they're going to be to ever fall below 5% ever again, at least during my lifetime.
Yeah.
And I'm in my early 30s.
Yeah. We're paying for a party that we didn't really get a chance to really enjoy at all. And for some people, they didn't even get to see the party. They're like, hello, welcome to the world. Here's your bill. We all enjoyed our party. You pull yourself up by your bootstraps and pay for our party that we had. Yeah, it's gonna exactly. It's just gonna come crashing down, and like we keep saying, it's gonna get worse before it gets worse, and then it will start to get better. Yeah. But this is why we keep talking about economics, because it's all tied into infrastructure. If we have, even if the economy were because after the bubble economy in the 1990s. It wasn't an absolute terrible crash, and people were absolutely devastated or anything like that. Sure, the big investors that were, investing into a whole bunch of ghost companies and vaporware that wasn't going anywhere, they were the ones that lost out. But I mean, there was still at least a decent economy to fall back on, and there was at least something there to go. I mean, they at least had a country, they at least had an economy. Here in the United States, it's going to turn into an absolute chaotic mess because we don't have the same homogeneity as Japan does. Neither do we have the infrastructure system they at least have to fall back on and say, okay, well, at least things will keep ticking on. It's not going to tick as well as it did in the 1980s, but at least there's some sort of ticking forward.
And the worst thing about the Japan issue is once the bubble finally burst, yes, it was a minor recession, but they've been having a stagnant economy every year since.
Yeah.
And in the rest of the world, it's not going to be a stagnant economy even in their best times, because it requires you not only to plan for the future and to actually build out that future for future generations, but a lot of the world just don't have much of a future generation. So, so when I talk to people who are like, you need to have a last will and testament, you need to have life insurance, and you need to have a retirement plan. For most people, they don't have a retirement plan to speak of outside of government assistance. And if all the government welfare programs are already tapped out now, and they're trying to get money in from future generations to pay the current generation, and those future generations are getting smaller each and every year, it's like, then you're going to have no money for your retirement at all, period.
Yeah, and I think a lot of us in our generation, we're just not going to even see any sort of retirement. It's like, what? Retirement? No, I'm not retarded. What? We're not retiring.
That's true.
If you want to retire, the best thing to do is just to fund your retirement out independent of any government or even your company in a lot of instances.
Now,
it's great to have a pension,
all right,
but it's good to fund your own pension.
Now, you're not getting if you have maybe, let me see, wait, here's this is all we're going to see, maybe, if anything, from our Social Security. That's a penny. That's it. Zero. For those of you who are on the chat, I just showed off a penny on the camera. But yeah, we're not getting much of anything there. But yeah, this is why it's more important that we need a robust infrastructure system to move our economy. We need to start investing in the American worker, the American family again. Okay, especially the family, right? Because people work because they want to support their family. That's the reason why they're working. If you don't have something to live for, you're not going to want to do anything. So that's what we need.
Now it really needs to go. It needs to go back to 1900, where back then, about 90% of the population actually either ran their own business or worked for a small business. And in 2000, it fell to like 10% of the population.
Because I know people keep wanting to say, "Oh, we're going to go back to the 1950s." The 1950s is the reason why we're stuck in this as idyllic as it looked like in the movies and in the commercials and stuff like that. It's the beginning of everything that gone wrong in this country.
That's true.
You can go back even further than that, but still, it's like we need to turn the clock way back and try this again. If we still have a chance.
Mm-hmm.
We have a chance. The only question is do the people currently in power wish to invest into things that they might not even live long enough to see completed, much less get any benefit from? Or will they go to their grave saying, no, I won't allow this for the current generations to finally say, well, I guess we get to have this conversation in half a generation to a full generation from now.
Yeah, and that's the unfortunate part. Renell, you're right. It's going to be the latter.
Now, I will bring up this, and I would try to say it when we would talk about the suburban development. Suburban development is not good for mental health, and that including people with mental disability who are autistic, like me and Val. Like, for people and kids...
Don't forget about me, too.
That too. You too, Brightline. Think about...
Well, more of the rural side of suburban development is ideal for wealth building, but not very good for the mental health. The more urban side of suburban is a lot better, but it really just adds more community aspects and less nature.
Now,
and it's terrible over here because I'm living as far out the outskirts for now in Indianapolis. And, it's terrible what's going on to the farms over here. They're either going up for sale or for lease, which they're most likely going to be for sale. They're going to put some more BS, hastily made suburban homes that are made by basically labor that has walked over here in the last, 1 or 2 years. It's molding already on the inside. They'll sell it for $500,000, and they'll go on to the next strip of land to go ahead and destroy. So there's less nature, and that's not good. We need to be building more towards the interior of cities rather than outwards, because that's just for developers and for banks to go ahead and to profit off.
I've heard, I've heard that there are some millionaires who are actually buying out some land out there, buying out former farmland. So if there's no food for... everybody's thinking about consuming, but nobody's producing anything.
You're right. Yeah, you're right, yeah.
Now...
We need to stop being... That's another thing. We need to stop, I'm an American consumer. I hate that phrase. Like, I have consumer rights. That's what your life has turned into, the American consumer. No, we got to stop. We have to stop that mindset. It's like, we're Americans. We produce stuff. We make stuff. That's what we need to get back to.
Yeah.
And don't forget, we have a lot of stuff that are made in China, which soon is going to turn into made in Mexico.
Oh yeah, that right. A lot of businesses are moving.
It's a little closer.
A lot of businesses are moving from China to Mexico because, let's be honest, their transition to the type of stuff we have is going worse because they're doing it way faster than we are, and we're about to see what happened when a country tried to go with all car culture and suburban development and collapsed because of it. Because if y'all look at China on maps, good God, if people thought suburban development was bad over here, look at how bad it is in China.
Oh, yeah.
The Evergrande debacle, and they have complete ghost cities, which people bought into, which are now being torn down.
The one scale of Paris that they basically made there in China that's basically empty, except for like a couple of Chinese grandmas that are making, soup outside of it looks like something out of Blade Runner, but it's just so ridiculous.
I mean, all of those, empty high-rise apartments, all over the place,
Yeah, a lot of times those buildings aren't even built to code in less developed countries, much less in the very developed world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we don't want. We're tired of the suburbs, and we don't want commie blocks. Okay, it's as simple as that. Go ahead, sure.
I've seen this documentary regarding the high-speed rail in California. They say they want to attract the development back to the city center instead of having developments go away from the cities. Bring it back.
Hey, let's not forget about that building collapse that happened a couple of days ago up in New York City. Let's not forget that. Another
130 people were displaced.
Yeah, any of y'all heard about that building collapsing in New York a couple of days ago?
I heard just a bit of it, but to what Renell was saying, it makes sense. We need to. The thing is when you have development close towards the heart of the city, right? You're centering it on there. That's why most train stations either were the impetus to starting to build cities like out west, or were situated in the middle of cities in order to keep facilitating that sort of growth. So that's why it's important to keep it. Of course, you have some of your train stations that are either located out in the periphery, or they're going to be outside of there because either they can't build there, or it's just easier to connect to people outside the cities. And so you have your you have your exceptions, but that's where it makes sense. We don't. If everything is crumbling, right? The buildings are crumbling. The roads are crumbling. The crumbling is coming. That's where we're at.
Yeah, it looks like 2 more people are wanting to join the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all right. So let's go ahead and bring you all in. Okay, it's 8:49. We got 10 minutes. Let's end this. Let's bring this to an end at 9. But here we go. We got everybody in here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Welcome aboard.
People we've had in the audience.
Tell me about it.
All right, see Arlie.
All right.
Arlie is first.
All right, so yes, I have been listening to the part of the conversation, and so you guys bring up some pretty interesting points too. And one thing I want to talk about is the whole I think we talked about this for quite a while back about the whole libertarians and the whole autonomous vehicle replace rail trains and blah blah blah, things like that.
Hold on. I got something from the FDOT, from the Florida Department of Transportation.
Ooh.
They say that they're going to electrify
electric
lanes on the turnpike.
I heard about this. Yes, the electric road.
Wow,
But
that's
will-
stupid.
That will fail, I think.
I know.
Boom
At least
doggle.
they're just talking about it. It's Florida.
Put that link in the chat.
Ooh.
Where moose are walking, just in case you miss a tiny animal.
Oh, was that the solar? No, this is the solar power roadways. As bad as that junk was, but no, this is it's trying to come back, but now in the Sunshine State. Let me see if I can find it because I know I saw that article this week.
That's a boondoggle of a boondoggle.
Lincoln Shed. If it does exist, I can vouch for it.
Is this the electric from the 90s, or it was like slot cars? I remember that where they were selling. Oh yeah, we're gonna make all the cars. We're gonna electrify the roads.
All right, here we go. I found it. Okay, so let's see. Construction to build a new expressway linking 2 areas got green lit. The Central Florida Express Authority, or CFX, plans to build a toll road linking Highway 27 to Highway 429. Wait, did I click the right article here? Yeah, this is it. Yeah, this is The one with the electric. Okay, it will have a wildlife underpass to protect wildlife in the area, pathways for runners, walkers, and bikers, and the road itself will charge electric vehicles. We will have the roadway, which will be equipped with these coils that can charge electric vehicles as they hover over them. So, for those of you who don't know how that works, somebody's putting me out there because you guys mute your microphone because it's feedbacking in.
Oh, yeah.
So for those of you guys that don't know, like for example, if you charge your phones, most phones will have what's it called? NFC charging or near field communication charging, right? It's basically a coil in your battery, a copper coil that gets heated up on contact by a magnet on there and it charges your phone, right? So basically, they want to do the same thing of charging cars on electric roadway, which is you're adding. It's not like charging your phone because it's just one little pad to do it on. You're doing it to an entire roadway, which is going to be a massive amount of money, a massive amount of anything can go wrong, right?
I really like the idea of being boiled alive in my car.
Oh, yeah. That's a popcorn right there, am I right?
I really love the idea of my car just getting hotter as I drive along the road, just constantly until it boils me alive in my car.
Oh God!
Oh, God.
Why is it such an electric car and how original you are? I see electric cars be burned.
Hey.
Also, what do they mean when they say, "Oh, there's going to be wildlife and there's going to be holes under the road"? Is this going to be like that 1930s thing where they made like little tunnels for kids to get underneath the highway?
They already have those wildlife tunnels for different animal groups, but for Florida, you're talking about iguanas and the American crocodile. But I don't think.
I don't think it's that far north in Central Florida. The crocs are down over south by the Keys.
Yeah, it's like we need to make sure that we can get our alligators and crocodiles across the road without having to run them over.
And they're going to have to communicate with the cyclists as well.
Yeah, sure.
Hey, guys, look what I put in group chat.
Yeah, Qi wireless charging. That's what it's called. Qi. You have to put your inner Qi while you get boiled in your electric vehicle alive slowly as you're commuting. And you're stuck. Wait. You're stuck in the self-driving car because the locks have melted in there too because they accidentally got some charge from the Qi. So you're just melting in there. Breathing in the plastics. Vegan leather too. That was. I always made fun of that in the Tesla, the vegan leather. So
by 2025, don't they want to be able to shut off all of our cars as well?
Yeah, I'm not buying any cars. I typically just avoid buying or getting any car past.
So if you're a political dissident, they're just gonna stop your car on the highway and then boil you alive.
Yeah, like Tom Cruise in the movie. What was it?
Lock your doors.
Minority Report.
Minority Report. Yeah, where they just get him in and it's just like he's under arrest and they just bring him in the car and he can't get out, so he has to break out of there. Yeah, and that's what we're looking at now. I know I put that joke somewhere about talking about self-driving cars.
Hey, Brightline, not Brightline, Dimitri, look at the two memes that I posted.
Where are they, in the general chat?
I believe so. Yeah, they're in the general chat.
Oh, hi, dear.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, the charging for electric vehicles while they're on the road, on paper looks good, but the technology is still decades away.
Yeah, there's one in Germany. There's one in Germany where they have overhead wires above the autobahn where the trucks can raise up the pantograph and run like a trolley bus. I believe.
I can't wait to have rolling blackouts and be boiled alive. And
Yeah.
The future's looking great in Germany.
We're gonna live in the most dystopian future. It's gonna be cyberpunk, but none of the cool stuff.
Yeah,
You're not gonna get a bazooka for your arm.
It's just the common world. I still like that it's cyberpunk where you can get like out of a vending machine just like a plastic gun with like 50 rounds in it. That was a machine pistol. That was sick.
Yeah, I was promised cyberpunk, but all I got was just punk and dystopian.
area. I just get the
I
cool
just got corporate
cybernetics.
oligarchies. Where's the where are my bazooka arms and vending machine pistols?
Oh.
I only have corporate overlords.
Hey, Brian,
That's
not
the
Brian,
only part.
Dimitri.
That's because that's the only part that makes money for them. That's why they have to allow that.
Hey, Dimitri, did you read the little Tykes meme that I posted?
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, how fast was that kid going? I mean, that's another thing. Has anybody, when they're driving, they're just seeing more accidents and more just boundaries that are blown off or tire debris, just stuff on the side of the roadway.
Yeah.
Just
I saw that all the time, man.
Family here.
What inevitably happens is the government gets involved. So, there's drunk drivers. Well, we're going to have to turn off your cars. So, we're just going to have to put in computer chips out everywhere and Wi-Fi, blow up your brain.
Let me bring it up.
how many journalists are going to be in those self-driving cars that are just going to completely combust and explode? Or somebody just found out, it's like, hey, I'm just going to go home from work after finding out how to fuel up cars for free. And all of a sudden, what a terrible accident that person was. How sad. His car just zipped up to 170 miles an hour while on fire.
So it's going to be like Finland, where everybody has it's just going to be like a sauna in the middle of a self-driving car.
Yeah, that's at least we're having these conversations, because that's the thing. We just have to just bully these stupid ideas and just say, this is stupid. Just go up there in the commission and just say, I'd like to have peace of my mind, Your Honor. This is stupid.
Well,
Right? Not Brian, like
Demetrius.
Demetrius.
Think about it.
Demetrius.
When you think about it, guys,
Like
the most
Like-
bad.
let me just say that, for people who support cars who say trains are communist, then one word I say to them, and it set them up real quick if they are car supporter. Like, if they say, "Oh, car of freedom," I always tell them to say, "Oh, so you support a metal cage on wheels?"
In this case, they're
Who pays for the roads?
Also, you need a driver license, and also you didn't pay for tax and registration. So, more government control, I guess.
Exactly.
You think about this historically. No, you think about this historically, and the greatest people in mass transit were private industries.
Exactly.
Pennsylvania Railroad. And most of these places that were built with tradition and ivory pillars and massive statues to give you a sense of what it is to be American. It's all gone out the window for glass rectangles.
Well, for the most part, once you look into history, you find that
rectangles are now more blobs.
Once you look into history and actually look at what actually happened, some of the best companies and the best times ever were done by visionaries who really didn't give a crap about what people thought, and they built things that everybody enjoyed, but those companies and parts of the entire regions went down the moment those people either left because of age or they died.
Yeah.
So they're now just husk of their former selves.
Right.
Yeah.
The last point to bring it on, speaking of visionaries, just look at Florida. Look at what Flagler built was basically the entire state of Florida as it exists today, right? Because that entire state would not exist the way it is now without Henry Flagler building the FEC down all the way to Key West. That railroad, the overseas railroad was called the eighth modern wonder of the world at that time because of just the amount of engineering that it is. We're talking about 120 years ago, more or less. Okay, we can't build that again. We can't build stuff like that again. That's ridiculous.
And
it's embarrassing, man.
And the most embarrassing and disgusting thing that happened is when they tore it down and put a road over it. That was a disgrace. That was a disgrace right there.
This is the thing. Is that government has basically almost never been able to do a project under budget, on time,
and to make a profit because they just have basically infinite money to throw at anything. And when you have infinite resources, you don't think about any problems. You don't think about making money. You don't think intelligently. You just go, what can we do? Well, we'll do whatever because we have a blank check. When you're Vanderbilt, when you're Pennsylvania Railroad, you have to make a profit. So you have to make a name for yourself.
And once government runs out of the infinite money, it's time to get those printers starting to go burring again.
Well, the money's all fixed.
Either print out the money, or if they got to make they'll go over and audit a couple of the younger folks and start kicking down the doors and shooting down dogs.
I mean, the value of our dollar isn't entirely based on faith, and the faith is very low at this point in history.
Yeah, the only thing that's backing the dollar really is the military at that point, and now that we're seeing the downfall of that, why would you want to back by the dollar at this point? 50, 100 years from now,
we'll see what happens with all.
Yeah,
of this.
It's going to be a wild ride, and we're kind of just stuck in it. So it's just. All right, last one. It's 9:03. We're gonna shut this off 9:10.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Yeah, but when you look at money, every single currency that has gone to the fiat system, which the U.S. dollar currently is, it's only lasted for 50 to 100 years. We went off in 1971, so we're at 52, going on 53 years now. So the only way.
Just look at what happens when any foreign power goes, hey, we want to get back to the gold. We want to get back to a standard, not the gold standard, but the penny standard. Mm-hmm. And all of the countries that are on fiat currency, they start sweating bullets and they go, okay, we're going to go to World War III, I guess, because if we don't, you have to play by this system because that's the only way it works.
Yeah, how many people have tried going on to the gold standard or
Libya?
How many places we can go to that?
Libya was the most recent one.
Yeah,
China is also on the gold standard, as I've heard.
Well, it was nice knowing you, Shi. Goodbye.
To be honest, let me be honest, to try to go on a collab before the U.S. because they're doing.
They're already in collapse. The only thing holding them together is their political will in order to maintain control. But
yeah, I remember when I was in middle school, and that was a long time ago for me, and picking up a Times magazine article about the China bubble. That country is always in a state of collapse and non-collapse. It's Schrodinger's China. So the thing is, I think China and the U.S. are going to collapse. They're going to collapse together. It's not just one collapses and one stays up. They're both going to collapse, either one or the other. So it's not like who's going to go first. It's the whole Jenga tower falls down, and nobody's going to care who owns what.
I'm fascinated. I'm going to be fascinated to see how World War III goes when we don't have functional cargo trains.
Ooh.
Yeah, or just any infrastructure at all.
How many people are just not going to join up? Nobody just cares. Like, okay, good luck.
They're going to
we got a train coming.
No, we don't want to. Well, we have 5 people and a dog, so
it's that awkward moment. It's like, oh, you wanted the war. You got the war, but now you don't want to fight? No. We demand that. You wanted it. You go fight it. But we said no to the war, and you didn't listen to us.
Fight for the rich people.
I think one of the last polls that really gave me a smile was the support for having a war in Israel, and it was mostly all the baby boomers and up. It was like 81% of them supported like drafting everybody into there, and then it was a vast difference between millennials and Zoomers who were saying no. It's like vast majority said no, we're not supporting that at all. So I was like, okay, well, if you want to go ahead, you can go over there, and it's like that. What was it that meme of like Senator like Bloodthorn or something like that, at like 120 years old? Like, come on, I just want to see a nuclear blast before I die, just once, please. This is what we're dealing with. It's like, no, we're not. We're done.
No, I mean,
you already had this generation's Vietnam. It's like, it was the exact same choppers going off from the embassy again.
Just to go back to World War I, when the U.S. decided to do a constitutional amendment that changed the declaration of war from Congress over to a popular vote. But if you voted yes for the war and it passed, you would automatically be drafted to go fight in that war. It's like, oh, you're 50 years old and you voted for it? Well, you get drafted. Oh, you can't fight? Oh, don't worry. Your 18-year-old child will go in your stead. Don't worry.
But that's the thing.
He's not exempt.
No, I mean, that's the thing, is the baby boomer generation is a generation of people of, I got mine. I'm past all of that crap, so I don't care what happens.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I got my job, I have my career, I have my Land Cruiser, or my BMW, so you can go fight wars for me. I don't give a shit.
I mean, yeah, basically the rich guys actually want more wars. The only side, countries lose wars, all right? Ukraine versus Russia, both countries are losing. The only ones who are winning are the military contractors.
Mm-hmm. Now,
Raytheon, Boeing, those are the ones who are winning.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
I mean, Dimitri, you remember a couple of live stream ago I said we got to do a YouTuber collab of a boat doing a live stream? You remember that?
Yeah.
Like we done it tonight?
Yeah, we got 9 people here. I think this is much more of a collab right now.
Yeah, because I'm live streaming on my YouTube channel too. Like we're live on my channel too. You're live on your channel. So that ironic because I was not expecting you to do a live stream tonight. Like that was
I
saying.
was not expecting me to do it, but I went along with it, I guess. Any other last words we want to end on? Let's try to end on a better note. We know everything is shit. We love being cynical about it. We know it's funny. With our millennial and Zoomer dark humor.
Dimitri, there's something I needed.
Say red line. That's the challenge there. Any bright spots?
Dimitri, there's something I needed to talk about, and it's about Class 1 bringing back passenger service. Like, have you heard down in Mexico? Like, CPKC is talking about bringing passenger service. Meaning, in our lifetime, we could be seeing a Class 1 having its own passenger service. In our lifetime, again. That.
For real?
Yes.
Yes. I think that's good. Yeah, that can happen. I mean, we've seen it happen. We've seen freight roads bring back passenger rail services, so I don't see why not.
I just want to bring out about number one. There's 2 great news that I want to talk about, and it's about Amtrak Cascades. The people in the Cascadia region want to have a high-speed rail system, but others want to revitalize the Amtrak Cascade service.
We need to pump up the service. We need to pump the service up. That's a priority.
Yeah, get the service going, and then build some high-speed rail. Afterwards or in conjunction. It's like you already have the service there. Just upgrade that, and then go to what works, right?
Yes.
Right. And another one that Mexico is actually having its own system, like the Amtrak S
Train Maya.
system.
The Train Maya is supposed to be opening operations this month.
No, what I'm talking about is not the Train Maya. David and I were talking about it. It's more like an interoceanic corridor between the Atlantic Ocean and the Pacific.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
What is going on is that Mexico is taking it hand to form its own version of Amtrak and telling the Class 1 the Class 1 down in Mexico is that they either do passenger service or the Navy is going to take over and do passenger service for them. And CPKC agrees with the Mexican government, and they already are planning their own passenger service down in Mexico. Who knows? Casey.
Trains?
No,
Or it's about this about trains? Sorry.
Passenger service here in Canada too.
So in our lifetime, probably because CPKC, with them doing that down in Mexico, they're probably eventually going to do it in the U.S. and then Canada, meaning they could be the first class one in North America to bring passenger service back with a class one since the 1980s, which will be crazy. Like, it will be crazy if it does happen, meaning we'll be seeing freight railroads that also have passenger service with them again. And I think CPKC is probably going to be the one to lead the way, because they got their act together. They don't do PSR, like, let's be honest. CP and PSR once they got rid of you-know-who. And KCP or Kansas City Southern, before they merged, they literally said that they'll never do PSR, which they never did. They were the only Class 1 railroad that never done it. And now that both of them are now a new Class 1 because they merged, which they could be probably the first railroad to actually lead the way, bringing back passenger rail service with Class 1s. Am I right?
Yeah, I think we can end it there. The good thing is that even with economic turmoil, it may force a lot of these freight railroad companies to diversify their operations and adapt and say, okay, if we're not moving as much freight, people still want to get around. Let's see if we can offer or operate some sort of form of some budget passenger rail service or something to get things moving. Right, because for example, the Hoosier Rail Service over here for a time was being run by a privatized company because Amtrak couldn't run it for a good bit, and that was actually pretty well done. So I mean, there's a possibility that can happen again, and it does work. It's just things need to be shaken up a lot more, and there's. As chaotic as things may be, that may be the only reason why things are happening or could happen as fast as we wanted to, because there's a massive need for it.
Oh yeah.
Well, the good thing at the end of the day is you just have to think about this. The opposition, everything that they do is self-destructive. It's all crap, and what that means is inevitably, it's just going to fall apart, and us, you, whoever's out there, we're going to be there to pick up the pieces.
Oh,
we
yeah.
don't just have to sit and wait. We just have to wait to pick up the pieces. So, it's like, just get ready, and eventually things are going to get back around to being healthy again.
Oh, while we're waiting, we get ourselves, prepared. We learn about this. We share ideas. That's the whole reason why this channel's here, right? At least to share these ideas, to get them out there into the public.
Yeah, roast marshmallows on the boiling corpses from the electric streets.
Wireless charging. Get it right.
Where I'm getting my inner cheese. Alrighty, guys, this was good. So we'll end it here. Thank you all for coming on board. This was good. I enjoyed it. So thank you all, man. This was great.
Thank you.
You have a night, guys.
Yeah. Good speed to everybody out there.
With everyone, like literally now, was not expecting, and I'll be honest, I was not expecting to do a YouTuber collab. Yeah, that I was not expecting to happen.
Oh, sorry, I was just daydreaming about stuff.
And
what happened?
I'll be honest, I guess it turned into the fans of trains.
I know more about Autism. The voice of trains now.
Technically, I had to change one part to trains. Like, I actually changed one of the tip for trains, but, it's still voice autism because we did talk about some autism or technically autistic stuff on his live stream, so technically it all fall into line anyway, but that was fun. Now let me get back because dipping crates because we'll do this for about 10 more minutes because I'll be honest, I want to go to bed for I can be able to rail fan tomorrow. Now we are setting up right, so I might be able to do it, but let me be honest, and I'm going to say this. It's that me and Val, we're going to be going to the Festival of Lights next week.
I'm not sure how much I have left.
Don't worry, it's going to be good, but...
No, I don't know how much I have left, but I gotta help.
With the tiny house payment, I know. But we're going to have fun. Also, there's another item I'm talking about, and I do say that I do got the Model Train magazine for this month, Train Galore, so we'll be doing a Train Galore coming up week 2, so Model Train magazines.
And
so yeah, we got them.
Yeah, David's going nuts.
Right there. They're right above there anyway. But yeah, but this was a crazy live stream. Like I thought it was gonna be me and my wife talking about stuff, but it went into a whole different ball game.
I know, like the whole train. I don't want to talk about stuff like pretend I know trains.
I know.
I hardly don't know about trains.
But we did get the funny stuff too. Oof, body's still a little stiff from today. But yeah. Now I will be on it, and what I'll be on it about is that there it's up, and I'll say that us autistic people, some of us do like talk about trains because some of us do have train obsession. So kind of ironic because the American Rail Club is talking about train stuff, and we are transit supported. So that's a good thing, but that was a crazy thing if I say so myself because let me be honest, I was not expecting Demetria to do a live stream tonight. At all. That was the crazy thing, but they're probably going to be one of our craziest live stream in a long time about this stuff. But technically, ironically, a collab live stream without even trying hard, you know? Am I right about that?
No. Oh, yeah. Sorry, I was thinking about stuff.
You little daydreamer. You always daydream. You know that?
Yes, I daydream a lot.
But that was fun with Demetria live stream, but
being a cute foamer.
But hopefully we get me one of those tomorrow, Val. Please.
What?
One of those. You know I like them, and I have not had one in a long time. But do a crazy live stream. Also, I will say that I would talk about earlier about the model train shorts that I posted today and earlier this morning, and technically some late last night. Like, I posted those, and I hope y'all enjoy those because I got more train shorts coming in the new year if we do go to what we planning to the 2024 Charleston Model Train Show, which we do already have planned, and guess who will be seeing that day, Val? Guess who?
Christopher?
Nope. And a friend of mine that I work with.
Joe?
Yep, Joe is coming. We might see Booty Bomb Thomas, which like to suck on pinballs, aka pinball player, aka addicted to pinball.
Are you serious, David?
Yeah, have you noticed that on his YouTube channel, A Little Bit Clear Protection, he have been playing pinball lately?
No.
Not joking, he have been. But literally, I've been trying to roast Thomas on his live stream, saying, "Oh, it's like the pinballs. Oh, I get you got the pinballs up your butt." Literally, I'm trying to roast him with pinballs roast, but it's crazy. Now, I would, and here, venting. this live stream, I was only expected to do this for about 30 to 40 minutes, but instead we've been on for almost 2 hours. That crazy, like, and I did not even expected that. That was a crazy thing that I'm not gonna lie about. But yeah. Now, it is getting colder. Like tomorrow night, it's supposed to hit 28. You know that?
No.
Yeah, our low tomorrow night supposed to be 28. Check the temperature.
Oh, 59. 44.
No, let me check.
44 and then 32.
Mm-hmm.
Tuesday is 32.
Yep.
Then you hit 32 and then going to happen to 48.
Yep. Like.
Oh, I don't have a quick ride.
What? Supposed to get cold later on.
Like, look.
The wind?
Yep.
Not going to be that bad, though. Trust me. I dealt with worse. But I'll be on it. One thing I did wanted to talk about before that crazy live stream stuff happened was work today. Like, let's be honest. Work for me today, but not that good. Like, literally, I had to work all day in pouring rain. And I'm not even joking. Like, it was pouring rain while I worked. And good God, that was not fun. Like, literally. I was working in bad conditions, and literally, I was soaked to the core. And I'll be honest, that is not fun at all. And I'll be honest about it. Getting soaked to the core with rain is not a fun time. And that I'll always say. And oh boy. Like, I was cold. Like, Eugene, when I was coming in when I finally got home, I was shivering.
Yeah, your butt is crying like,
Now, good news is that the rain is finally out. It's not raining anymore. So
but it will be damp tomorrow because of the rain.
I know, but because of the flooding today, a lot of stuff is shut down. Like, Jesus Christ, a lot of areas were flooded when I was coming home. And shit. It's crazy to seeing how much flooding there was. Like that, I have not seen in a long time, and it's crazy in a way.
And I'm feeling kind of nervous because work is gonna be extremely busy.
Oh, not just for you, for me too, Val, because of the holiday season. You think you're going to have a bad trip? Wait until I work Thursday. Or not Thursday, Tuesday, I mean. It's not going to be fun. At all.
Tell me about it.
Also, I am doing a Fan of Train live stream on Christmas. And Brightline, if you're witnessed it, yes, it's going to be called Polar Express. So, that actually going to happen. So, the Christmas live stream is going to be a train one. Oh, boy. But it's just a lot of craziness, but yeah. But there are a ton of stuff I will say, and
oh my God,
it's something crazy.
I'm thinking about staring at that scientific calculator. I can't.
That, you know, I roasted you about it already. You're a 2000 girl.
I'm hoping my favorite YouTuber, aka you know who.
I know, but it's been crazy.
It's been crazy. Like, man, I think I'm just pretty scared right now.
Now, Val, when we do go Thursday, you're gonna love the festival lights. You have never seen this, so you're gonna love it.
For real?
Oh yeah. Like, y'all will remember that when I'm going to talk about.
Enjoy ham and cheese.
I'm going to say that right now, and I will say it on the video blog that day. That she is going to enjoy it, and she's going to love it. Because it's so festive. Plus, you get to walk around, have hot chocolate, marshmallows, s'mores, all of that. Plus, there are gift shop. So you're going to have a good time, Val. That's for sure. Now, we've been going on for 2 hours. It's been a crazy, wild ride, but we do got to get ready to go to bed. What time you got work, Bill?
7.
So I got work at 7. I want to be able to get up early, catch some morning trains. So, yeah. And hopefully everything go well. But I hope y'all enjoyed the live stream. Please like and subscribe. And we'll talk to y'all later. Have a night, everyone, and Merry Christmas.
And snuggles.
Bye, guys.